guys, welcome back to another video, and I think today, with it being the last day of the year, we're going to have a little bit of a kind of look back on what 2020 had in store for Animal Crossings, a little bit of a look back at the year and at the game, and then we're going to kind of make some fun predictions and looking ahead to 2021 and what we think that year will have in store for Animal Crossings. So just a bit of a fun video, guys, today. So looking back, obviously the game launched in March 2020, having been delayed. So the original launch for this game was, I think, November 2019, and it got pushed back, and obviously the timing for Nintendo couldn't have been any better. The game dropped just as the whole world was plummeted into a global pandemic, and we were all locked down across the whole world. Nobody was traveling, most people were working from home or not working at all. And we all were told to stay indoors and stay safe. So naturally, sales of video games consoles, streaming services, things like that shot through the roof. And Animal Crossing and Nintendo Switches were no exception. You could not get hold of a Nintendo Switch for months at the start of the pandemic. And Animal Crossing sales did really, really well. Now, the most up-to-date number I could find was 26 million copies, which is absolutely insane amount. That puts it the most popular Switch game to date. Now, obviously, that doesn't include the holiday sales, so it'll be interesting to see what has happened over the festive period when there's loads of new players. So, 2020, I think, looking back, although we have all been quite harsh at times on, like, kind of as the updates have dropped and where we've expected things and we've been disappointed, I think on the whole, for the first kind of 9 months of the game, it's been pretty damn good. So looking back from the launch, we've had a lot of kind of old NPCs that have been in previous games added back in. So we've had Leaf, Red, Rover just made a very, very short return, Reese and Cyrus, Pascal, Luna, Jack, and then finally Jingle. So we've had some cool events, lots of new items and DIY sets being added to the game, which has been cool, and a couple of new game mechanics like the Dream Suite and the Dive-In. Again, these mechanics have been in previous games, but it was nice for them to be added back into New Horizons. Now, looking back at it, I think the worst event we've had, or the worst update we had, was the Museum Day event, or the Museum Week event, whatever that was. It was lame. The events were all, the prizes were all the same, and it wasn't that challenging. So I think that's probably one of the worst. But looking back, we've had some other good ones. I really enjoyed the Mayday Maze. That was really good, and I would like to see more of that kind of in the future. And I think the best one overall was the Halloween event. The items were really accessible, so nobody missed out. We had time to kind of get decorated. On the lead up to Halloween, it felt like we're kind of leading up to something. And yeah, just the whole event felt really well timed and really fun. For me, I'd like to see the Christmas event go the same way. So it's a shame the kind of Christmas items weren't a little bit more accessible. Maybe the Islanders gave them out as DIYs. Things like that should have happened rather than just relying on balloons, because trying to get them out of balloons is a nightmare. But for the most part, I think it's been pretty good, and I've definitely enjoyed 2020 playing Animal Crossings. So, looking ahead to 2021, I think it's time to make a few little predictions, and as always, guys, get involved in the comments. Let me know, what do you guys think is coming in 2021? What do you think? Am I going stir crazy? Am I being too optimistic? Let me know. I'd just love to see what you guys think. So, there was recently an interview with Doug Bowser, and he specifically said that they will continue to see the updates that we saw in year one. And he actually referred to gameplay mechanics, and he talked about there's two different ways, and talked about seasonal events and kind of gameplay mechanic events. Now, the way I look at it is year one was very, very, very easy for Nintendo to make quick wins. And what I mean by that is, every time the season changed, it was something different. There was a new seasonal DIY, a new seasonal recipe. So although the events themselves weren't massive, they often coincided with new seasonal materials, new seasonal DIYs, new furniture sets, the seasons changing, your island changing. So actually it felt a lot bigger than they actually were. Now moving into season or to year 2, sorry, that Nintendo haven't got that to rely on. You know, we know the cherry blossom season's coming. We know maple leaf season is coming. The majority of people have got most of the DIYs. You know, they might be missing a few, but they might have traded for them or managed to get them elsewhere. So, you know, in that respect, there's not really a lot kind of keeping players engaged. So there's definitely going to have to be more stuff injected into this game to kind of push it to the next level. So the last kind of event that we know of, which is coming up, is Pave, that is coming for the festival event. I will do a bit more in-depth video on the lead up to that, looking at that event specifically. After that, we know that in March, they are bringing some Nintendo, or specifically Mario items to the game. Which again, it'd be interesting to see how that works. But that's all we know about. We don't know about anything else past that. Now, here's my predictions. I'm going to go quite like low ball to start with. And then I might throw like a really big stretch one in there as well. So I definitely think 2021 is the year that we see Brewster. I'm surprised he hasn't come already. But I think that they may be holding him back because he will come with the ability to be able to make coffees for your islanders and kind of add a bit more of a gameplay mechanic and add a little bit more substance to the game. So I think that's maybe why they've holding him back, because they're going to make him super epic when he gets in. It's going to really add some more kind of fun and adventure to the game. I think the summer update will be super fun, and I seriously expect Cap'n to make a return, because I think the biggest area where this game kind of laps out is the multiplayer aspect. Now, in previous games, we had the multiplayer island and things like that, and I just think this pier here is a bit random. So I could easily see like Cap'n pulling up here, you jump in his boat and it takes you to a different island where you can play multiplayers, or there's some mini games that you can play, or you know, something like the minigame island, or you know, you can invite your friends there and stuff like that. I think there's definitely got to be another use for that pier, and you know, I think that would be the perfect summer update for year 2, because again, it's quite a big gameplay mechanic and it's something people are wanting, and it'll give the developers plenty of time to kind of work on it and develop it and make it super, super awesome. In terms of what else, I think the events, like the holiday events, so Halloween, Christmas, Easter, Bunny Day, are all going to be very, very similar. Now, I've heard reports, now you guys know I don't time travel, I try to play the game as kind of in real time as possible. If you time travel backwards, you can play all the events. If you time travel back to Bunny Day or back to Halloween, you can play the events. However, if you time travel forwards, they are now locked, which I think is interesting. So, while I think the events, for the most part, will be pretty much the same, I would like to see Nintendo just tweak them slightly. You know, whether it's just adding some slightly different item variants, or a few new kind of, just a bit of new items, or even a new colourway for the items that are already there, or just something to make it a little bit different and a little bit more worthwhile doing the event all over again. Because otherwise, where's the incentive for year 2 to kind of do anything else? Like, there's no incentive to complete it again. So I definitely think that would be a kind of worthwhile kind of thing for Nintendo to look at doing. Now, my kind of stretch goals now, like things I think we could really do with, but potentially aren't going to happen. I'd like to see an update on all of the villager dialogue, and I'm almost expecting, no, I'm not expecting, let's be honest, Pie in the Sky, I'm like hoping for an extension to Halves Island. Now, I've talked about this on previous videos, and especially in like Breaking Bells and things like that, we've discussed this in the past. But for me, Halves Island just feels totally unfinished and totally random. Like, why can't you explore the rest of the island? So for me, I think it would be really cool if Halves Island now expands. You can go past the house and you can terraform it and design it in the same way that you can design the interior of Halves Island, but you can do it on the outside as well. And just imagine how creative you could get. It's almost like a creative mode for Animal Crossing. You could get your villagers in, take loads of cool pictures, build all sorts of cool areas. I think it'd be so fun, and be a good way to kind of trial things as well before you go through the pain of like ripping down your island and rebuilding it. So yeah, I think that, but I mean that's definitely like a stretch. In fact, I can almost guarantee we're not going to see that in 2021, but that's kind of like my stretch goal, my stretch hope is what we see. But realistically, I think we're definitely going to see Brewster. I am 60 to 70% certain, so again, not that certain, that we'll see Cap'n for the summer update. And I think we'll see more kind of variations and more furniture sets added as we go along. But in reality, I don't know what else we will see. I'd like to see variations to the fishing and the bug tournaments. So maybe add another way to play it. So, you know, CJ and Flick turn up and be like, hey, we've decided to revamp the competition. So this time, you got to go catch a fish, and it's the biggest fish, or it's the fish that weighs the most, or, you know, you've got to catch the most purple bugs in the I don't know, whatever. But just to mix it up a little bit and just to add a little bit more variance and variation to the game and add some new items to make it more fun. I think it's going to be a good year. I think, you know, Nintendo can kind of see how big this game's got now. It's definitely making money. It doesn't look like it's going to slow down anytime soon. The player base is huge, and it makes sense for Nintendo to kind of carry on supporting this game and adding more and more content to it, because it'll be really good to see. The interesting thing I'd like to, maybe the back end of next year, is will Nintendo kind of dabble with the idea of a paid DLC in the same way that they've done that with Pokemon? Who knows? Maybe that could be like the way that they do bring multiplayer or something like that into the game. But for the most part, Nintendo seem pretty committed to supporting this game, so I'm super excited to see what they bring. Be sure to let me know in the comments, guys, what do you think they are going to add to the game? And as always, I will see you in tomorrow's video and in the new year. So I'll see you in 2021, guys. Bye!